Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurme Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Bhagavate Shri Swami Narayana Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya Sarvamangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanyatrambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Om Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahakali Rupena Samsita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha Om Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samsita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha Om Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahasaraswati Rupena Samsita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Shri Guru Stotram Om Khandamangalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Welcome to Daily Satsang. We are continuing our contemplation on the Atma, what is meant by the self or the Atma, the actual subject that we are. To be able to realize that, to live in that state of realization. So we looked at yesterday from the Vivek Chudamani this whole notion of being able to lift oneself further and further and further using the energies that we have. So I think that's pretty easy to understand, it's quite straightforward to understand that point. The Atma, just as a review, is not something that is an experience, it is the experiencer itself. It is the one that is experiencing everything. So the Atma is that which can realize what it is, as opposed to not realizing. So it depends on from which angle we look at. From the point of view of the Atma is always self-luminous. It's just always there. So then the question always comes about, where did Maya come from, ignorance come from? We don't know any real answer to that. There are many possible ways it is described. Whatever the reason for Maya's existence, whatever it might be, it can be transcended, and that's that's really important. It's like asking, why does anger exist? Well, there are many reasons behind that. Whatever the reasons may be, it's more important to find out how to go beyond it rather than to just analyze it further and further, right? So having said that, we are moving into the 10th verse of the Vivek Chudamani, and I'll read the translation first. It says here, Adi Shankaracharya ji, he said, "May the wise and the learned man," meaning individual, doesn't mean male or female, may the wise and the learned individual give up all actions motivated by desires and start the practice of realization of the self, capital S, and thereby attain freedom from the bondage of birth and death. So what he's talking about here is that wisdom should be there first. So sanyasya sarva karmani, that means renouncing all actions. What does that mean? That means we don't do anything in life? No. That's not what it means. Sanyasya refers to the renunciation of the attachments that occur due to any action, and renunciation of the attachment to the fruit. We have a certain fruit in mind, but there is no bondage to whatever the fruit might be, whatever the result may be. So that is what is meant by the word sanyasya. Sanyasya sarva karmani, and then bhava bandha vimuktaye. Bhava bandha vimuktaye means that for the liberation from the bonds of life, that we want to be completely liberated. Excuse me. We want to be completely liberated in this world. So, again, what is this liberation? What exactly is this? So I'm going to give you an analogy here. I have in my hand a small tangerine. You can see that? Small orange, just a small fruit, right? So we can actually learn all of Vedanta from this tiny little fruit. Everything we can learn from a small fruit. I'll show you how. So first of all, when I see this particular object, particular fruit, I have the word fruit in my mind. I have the word fruit, the category of the fruit, the tangerine. In different languages, it's named different ways. There's a form. there's a particular form, there's a color, and this is the peel. So we can always peel the fruit, right? So all objects like this one right in my hand, it's got three things: name, form, and Nam Rup Akar. So Nam Rup meaning name and form, and then it has this particular sensation to it. So Vedanta is saying that these objects like this, every object that we see, this is perceived through my senses right now, we are actually looking at the God itself. So it's very hard for anybody to realize that this is God. How can this fruit be God? How can this object be God? Well, or how can it be the Brahman? So our liberation that he's referring to is to get to that stage of realization where we see all objects, like the one I'm holding in my hand, as the Brahman itself. Because it is Brahman solidified in this particular way. So, the liberation from the bonds of life. Now, what kind of bondage would one have with a fruit like this? May not be much bondage at all. But someone could say, I don't like it. I like it. I like different color, this color, that color. So many likes and dislikes are there, even for a small fruit. Okay. So that's a bondage. To recognize likes and dislikes, to go beyond that. Now, how do we go beyond it? So this is why we offer, Patram Pushpam Phalam Tam. We offer Bhagwan the fruit. We offer it to God. So when we offer it to God, what happens? Then when we take it, then we say that is prasada. So we don't, that reaction of I like it, I don't like it, I like it, I don't like it, that diminishes. It doesn't go away necessarily, but it reduces a lot. And that is the whole point. That liberation from the bondages of life, that bhavabandha vimuktaye. Bhavabandha means what? The entire bondage to the sansara bhava. And vimukta means what? Total liberation. The word mukta means liberation. Vimukta refers to, is to highlight liberation. The word is in Sanskrit, the V is a highlighting. That is to highlight mukti. That you want to really get out of the sansara and its bondages. The sansara remains, but to not be bound by the sansara. So sanyasya sarva karmani bhavabandha vimuktaye. And then yatatma. Yatatmam panditaihi. That means that those who are learned, who are awakened, those who are using their intellectual power in the right direction, they are men, or they're men, women, whoever they are of steady wisdom. That is dhiraihi. See, yatatmam, it's actually yatat. Yatya, I'm not saying it right. Yatyatam. Yatyatam. That's what it is. Yatyatam. So it means bhavabandha vimuktaye yatyatam panditaihi dhiraihi. See, and then atma bhyase. Atma bhyase. That Atma Bhyase means what? Who is continuously placing efforts. Yatyatam, putting effort again and again and again to be freed from the bondages of the world. And in an attempt to rediscover the self. See the rediscovery. That is the Pratyabhijna Hridayam. Same thing. Rediscover. Oh, this is really, my God. I am so interested in discovering who am I. See, Atma Bhyase. So it is, Abhyas is a practice. See, it's a combination of two words. There is Atma and then Abhyas. So Atma Bhyase. And then Upastitaihi. Remaining continuously in that. Remaining steadfast in that. Remaining in that continual modality of discovery. Now let's see if we can go into this a bit further. In our day-to-day life, we are faced with innumerable experiences, just like the experience of the tiny little tangerine that I showed you. I just went to the market the other day and bought a whole bunch of these, right? Because why did I buy them? Because I want the experience of eating it. That's all. There's no big research on that. But what is the experience itself? Is the experience a form of God? Is the experience a form of Shakti? And the answer is yes, of course. It is, but to realize the extraordinary fact that we are even having an experience, and to appreciate the fact that we have eyes and ears and tongue and nose to be able to see a beautiful object like this. See, someone who is blind and someone who cannot see, cannot even see this tiny little tangerine that we take for granted. So there's gratitude for the experiences of life. Now, from that gratitude for the experiences of life, then comes about, in a further evolution, sannyasya, which is the first word here in verse number 10. Sannyasya is a state of realizing that I want to take a journey into the self. Yes, I appreciate the objects outside. Yes, there's energy there. Yes, there is the experience and the extraordinariness of it all. The whole diversity. Okay, so we have that. We appreciate that. We're not reacting against it. So non-reaction in the experiences of Prakriti allows for the state of sannyasya to be evolved. So we are equanimous in everything, but we are enjoying. We're seeing, we're hearing, we are selecting what experiences to have, all of that. But in such a way, in what way? The sannyasa sarva karmani. See the word karmani. Karmani means what? That all actions that are performed, actions are of what type? Physical, mental, verbal. This is karma. Karma, it can be performed mentally. You could sit around and think something very positive, that's a karma. Think something harmful, that's a karma. Say something harmful or negative or positive or beneficial or divine, that is a karma. Everything is karma in that sense. But when you renounce the karma, renunciation of the karma is where the experience is there, but then it is dropped, the effect of it is dropped from inside. So meaning what? I can see the tangerine, oh how beautiful. I can appreciate its existence. I can even peel it and eat it. And so I have an experience right from the beginning, from the shopping market until the point I put it in my mouth. And then I swallow it, the experience is finished. Now that becomes a karma. So then what is the word sannyasa? It means that karma that is done, there's a couple of ways of approaching it. One way is to say that this experience I'm offering back to God. Because it is because of the presence of God, I'm offering it to Him. That's why Sri Krishna says, offer me a leaf, offer me a flower, offer me a fruit. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Offer me anything you want to. But simple things, you don't need to have massive things like that. Whatever we're doing, we offer it to God. That the experience is given by the grace of God, and that experience is offered back to God. That is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti and Karma Yoga mixed. When we mix Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga, every experience is given back to God. So for example, when we are working somewhere and we get a paycheck, like direct deposit or whatever, we get some money from the place we're working. The Karma Yogi will take that money and offer it mentally all to God. Even though they have it in their bank account, they have to pay bills and do other things like that. But there is no attachment that, oh, this is mine. Yes, functionally it is yours. Functionally, because of the relative world we're living in, that's why. But internally, it belongs to Paramatma. This body, this mind, this senses, everything we are, it belongs to the Paramatma. He has given it to us by grace, by Krupa, to experience the world. But the ignorance of the jiva is such, he wants to just hold on to everything God has given, forgetting God, and then the ego is driven and running after the experiences of the sansar blindly, and that's where the bandhan comes, that is where the bondage comes. That is why Shankaracharya ji says, that he says here, Bhava bandha vimuktaye, Bhava bandha, Bhavasagar. In the Gujarati, there's a beautiful Saki, Bhavasagar nar neer, tarine santo Bhavasagar nar. It means that the saints are those, true sages are those who are the boatsmen who ferry the jiva across the sansar to God. They are the doorway to the Paramatma. Bhagavan Swaminarayan has mentioned this again and again. One of the main principles in Swaminarayan Sampradaya is that the Satpurusha, the enlightened being, should be recognized as one who can take one across the samsara by attachment to this attachment, in the sense, by relying on the state, by loving the state of the Satguru. We reach that stage ourselves, and all of our actions are performed and given. They're performed, but they're performed without the egocentric current. They're all given over to Paramatma. Sannasya. That is sannyas. Sannyas kya hai? Somebody wearing red clothes or orange clothes or blue clothes or green clothes or yellow hats or what? What is the definition of sannyas? Someone who's a Muslim or a Sufi, or someone who's a Vedantic sannyasi, or a Christian monk? Who is a sannyasi after all? Somebody's roaming in the forest without clothes, like the Jainas, the Digambar Jainas? Who is a sannyasi? Sannyasi is one who is able to and who has intended upon renouncing the fruit of all actions and giving them all back to the Paramatma. Or from an Advaitic point of view, letting them all go and letting them getting absorbed in Brahma Agni, in the Brahman, back into the universe. It has come to this being, it goes out back to the universe. Then one is free. Internal freedom is what we want. We don't want bondage. The reason we are studying these scriptures and asking from all the great sages who are present with us even now in different ways to bless us, the blessing is going to come directly when we are in a state of sannyasya. What a state of living that is. People are afraid of this word sannyas. Oh, usne sannyas grahan kiya hai. No. That is not sannyas. Maybe that is sannyas. We don't know. Maybe that's the external sannyas. What about the actual sannyas? An ordinary person who is living in this world, working just an ordinary life, could be the highest enlightened being, because that person is a true sannyasi from inside. The external garbs and those things, they are a sadhana to reach that state. And the world recognizes that. You know what they say, right? Particularly in a country like India, anybody, as soon as you put on those orange clothes or white clothes, whole world bows down to you. But it's a condition. It doesn't matter. I've seen this thousands of times in my life. All somebody has to do is put those clothes on, put some tilak on, and just roam around. And you see people, they're offered them flowers and the Ashirwad Mag. A million things are there because of the clothes and the tilaks and this, malas and all these things. Okay. And that is a path. वो एक मार्ग है. It's a beautiful thing. But in actuality, one should not get deluded by externalities. This is not an external showmanship. It's not some kind of a showmanship, there's some kind of a Halloween costume. What's the difference between a Halloween costume and sadhu wearing orange clothes? What's the difference between the two? You see, if Ravana also put those clothes of a Brahmin and did the Sita Haran, because she saw, he's a pious Brahmin, because she didn't, this is charitra, Bhagwan ka charitra hota hai, but to see beyond the garb. That's why so many people are lost running after sannyasis and sadhus wearing orange clothes or yellow clothes or blue clothes or whatever clothes they are. In Swaminarayan Sampradaya, it is written very clearly by Nishkulanand Swami, great sages. These people were really amazing. They were not concerned about garbs and all those things. He said, Vesh thi lesh na leva in Gujarati language. Vesh means whatever garb you've taken, you cannot judge anybody by the garb. So the word sannyasya here that Adi Shankaracharya ji is using is so relevant. Today, it's relevant today. Right now it's relevant. Because there is a human tendency to run after people in those spiritual clothes. No doubt, we respect their sadhana. No doubt, we respect their dedication. We want to take good things from them. We want to respect them. We don't want to take their faults. That's not. But remember, just because somebody has put on a holy cross and put on, in the Christian garb, they have all kinds of things. You should see the people in the pulpit, all kinds of garbs that they wear. So many of our sadhus also wear all kinds of clothes, and these Bhagavad Kathakars, they have all kinds of stuff, and they can talk very well. They can talk for hours and hours and hours and hours. And some of them are just sitting so silently, saying, "Bahut bade Mahatma hai." None of these things are in any way related to spirituality. They have zero connection with spirituality because they're external garbs. The only connection they have is that if they are done for inner development genuinely, then they have connection. They have no significance just because of the externality. How much significance a Halloween costume has? It's a game, that's all. So that's why Shankaracharya ji is putting very clearly, he's putting a hammer to all this thing. He's literally throwing a hammer to all the ignorance, A to Z, and he says, Sanyasya sarva karmani, do that. Take every action and offer it to the Paramatma in the Brahma Agni. Then you are a sannyasi, otherwise no. Otherwise it is some game being played, that's all. Something illusory, something for the sansar. In the Gujarati language, in Satsang, many times it is said, na male khava thai gaya baba. You know what that means? Jisko khane ko nahi milta, or some problems are there, so it becomes a babaji. And the whole sansari people bow down, they build a small temple, and chalta hai sab. In India, anybody can be turned into a god within 2 months, very easily. It doesn't take much time. You can turn anybody into a living god in 2 to 3 months over there. All you have to do is build a small temple, Hanumanji ka ek mandir, put the nice clothes on, put some nice malas on. You don't have to even say anything. Just give Ashirwad to about 100 people every day. That's all. People donate, or it'll work also because their faith is real. It is an incredible thing actually. India jaisi koi country nahi hai, because anybody can be turned into a god in 3 months. I can do it actually. I can turn anybody into a god or a goddess in 3 months without any problem. It's very easy to do. You see, because it's praja hi aisi hai. It's a Shraddhavan praja. You see, but that's why the knowledge of the scriptures is necessary. Knowledge of the truly enlightened beings is necessary. Otherwise, people are running blindly in superstitions and whatnot. That's why education is necessary. Why education is necessary throughout the world, so that we can understand what the scriptures are saying, what science is saying, what astronomy is saying, what psychology is saying, so people can start to think for themselves. And then from that thinking examination, one will not be led astray. How many people have been led astray in every religious tradition of the world because of all of these fake individuals? God knows how many. That's simply because there is no proper understanding or even contemplation of what is the spiritual path. Just running blindly, blind leading the blind. Blind leading the blind doesn't lead to divine vision. You know how they say 2 wrongs don't make a right. One blind quote individual who claims to be a guru has 50 people running after that individual. That doesn't lead to enlightenment. You see, so the fact here is that see the criteria. Adi Shankaracharya ji is speaking from his realization. Anybody who speaks from realization is a real guru. We are contemplating, so we are humbly contemplating, that's all. But the time will come, or time comes even now, from time to time, we speak from our realization. That's beautiful, fantastic. But this is a cautionary thing. What is very cautionary is because I'll tell you, in the history of the Sanatana Dharma, the traditions, so many have been developed, so many people have been led astray. And there were times, like in the time of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, there were these groups of babas, and they were actually frightening people and doing terrible things in the society, and they were against what Maharaj was trying to do, the reforms. So much superstition, so much misuse and abuse that has occurred by the people wearing those orange clothes. That's a fact. If you look at the history of India, you'll find so much of that has happened. But that doesn't mean that everybody wearing those orange clothes is like, no, there are some highly enlightened sages. And that's the interesting thing. What qualification, degree, or from university or from anywhere do you need to put on those orange clothes? Anybody can put it on. There is a village in Gujarat called Rampara where everybody has those orange clothes because that sand is usko jo mati hai na, the actual dirt, has that bhagwa color. So everybody has so people think these are all sadhus living here. somebody visiting that place. It's really remarkable how much conditioning there is about these clothes and externalities. Atma Siddhi or this Vivek Chudamani, Vachanamrutam, these scriptures and the lives of the great sages, they are teaching us the reality. The reality is that every action we perform, every action in every situation, at all times, as a devotee, offer it to Paramatma in any way you want, in any form you want. Offer it to God. Offer it to enlightened sages. Offer it to the universe. Offer it to all the beings. Offer it to the Lord that exists in everyone's heart. You don't hold on to the egotistical current of the karma. That non-holding of the egotistical current of the karma, of any action, man karma vachan, meaning mental action, physical action, verbal action, that non-holding of every action and offering it right back to the universe, one is liberated from the effect of the karma. That liberation from the effect of the karma is sannyas. Sanyasya sarva karmani भव बंध विमुक्तये. कितना अद्भुत है ये. Every word is amrut in Vivek Chudamani. Every word, every letter is amrut. It is divine. It is filled with the nectarine liberated words of the great sage Adi Shankaracharya ji. Who can deny this? How tremendous this is. When we begin to look at the power of every word and then go further, as per Vachanamrut, the enlightened sages, they're living that. Wow. To recognize, if we can recognize anybody who is actually living this way, and then we have love for that individual as a guru, that's what we're saying. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri, Guru Ve Namaha. From recognize from inside, this state awakens within us. Sachin right now is contemplating on this. Guru Tattva is active within me for this Jiva's development, because these words have the power of the great sages embedded within them. And the contemplative ability within us is available for us. Use our mind to contemplate on the scriptures. Shravanam. See, Shravanam, then Mananam, then Nididhyasanam, and then Sakshatkar. 4 stages are shown in Vedanta. Right now we're listening. That is Shravana. Sachin is also listening. Even Sachin is talking, Sachin is listening. This is only for Sachin, not for anybody else. If it's beneficial to others, Paramatma ki ichha. When we eat food, when we're hungry, we may be eating with a group of friends, but when you put food in your mouth, who are you eating for? You're eating because you're hungry. You have to eat. And you are going to experience it. Somebody else eating that same food, you will not be benefited by somebody else eating that food. You have to eat it yourself. Sachin is speaking, Sachin has to realize by himself, otherwise it's meaningless. So this is the glory. Every word is amruta. See, that's why the teachings of Sajanand Swami, Vachanamrut, it's called Vachan Rupi Amrut. Words are nectarine. This is all Vachanamrut. This Vivek Chudamani, Bhagavad Gita, it's all Amrut. It's all Vachanamrut. Vachanamrut, you cannot consider just as that one book, Vachanamrut. Vachanamrut means words that are spoken from the enlightened stage is all Vachanamrut. It is called the Pancham Veda. There are the 4 Vedas, right? The Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda, and Sam Veda. But there's a 5th Veda also. You know what that is? The 5th Veda is, these are the words spoken by manifested sages. They're spoken from the Brahmic consciousness for the people that are hearing them. That is called Pancham Ved. Itna mahima hai. So when Adi Shankaracharya ji is writing these words at that time, that are available by the grace of God to us here today, at this time, right now it's the 12th of January, 9:23 a.m. We're in the present. Sachin is contemplating on this. Kitni krupa hai that we have this kind of opportunity. Bahut krupa hai. So many people have done so much in generations after generations to bring us to this point where we can read this verse right now. Incredible. Kya baat hai? Just because we can load a document on the internet and say, oh, what's the big deal? It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. This language here has infinite truth within it. Ananta Shakti hai isme. It is a liberated state. Look at this word here. Bhavabandha vimuktaye. My God. What is that state? To be living to be living like a lion, liberated being in this oceanic sansar. To be freed from the pangs of the sansar. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want liberation? Actually, everybody wants liberation, but they're looking in the wrong direction. That's the problem. And every word here is filled with, he's showing us exactly what to do. He's explained what is sannyas. He's explained the fact that you can be liberated from the sansar, bhavabandha, vimukta. He didn't say mukta, he said vimukta. Put tremendous emphasis on the significance of mukti. And then he said, effort needs to be put. Yatya tam, it's yatya, yatyatam. Yatyatam means may efforts be put. Yatna, prayatna. You know, hum kehte hain na prayatna, yatna. That's what that word is. Effort has to be placed. One can realize God if you place effort, but God realization is not the result of effort. Effort is placed only so that wo jo Paramatma hai, the Parama God is seeing who is really wanting me. And if you want only God, God comes to you immediately. The moment we want only God, only Paramatma, Paramatma will definitely come to you. Then the mind, body, senses, everything is absorbed in God continuously. Ananyas chintayanto mam Bhagavad Gita. Maya aveshamano emam Nitya yukta upasate. Nitya yukta Nitya, continuous. See, even he's saying that here also. Practicing again and again, steadfast. And he's using the word dhiraihi. Tremendous steadiness, steadfastness. Patience is needed. Atma bhyase. Steadiness, patience, steadiness, भजन, भक्ति, कीर्तन, इसमें बहुत धीरज होनी चाहिए, इसमें बहुत श्रद्धा होनी चाहिए. वो जो शिरडी के साईं बाबा थे, वो उनके जो दो सूत्र है ना, श्रद्धा और सबूरी. Saburi means tremendous patience and continuous practice without the ego. Sadhana done without the ego completes the sadhana and grace occurs. In Gujarati, we say there is a sadhana antane pamyo. In Vachanamrut, this is written. That means the sadhana is finished. Sadhana is finished means you still do everything, but you're not doing anything to get somewhere. You're doing it just to please the Paramatma. You're doing it because you're relishing what you have obtained, what is available for you. You see, there's a difference between performing activity to get a result versus feeling that I have it. It's like this, you know, that if you have like in my closet, I'm looking at it right now. I have let's say 300 books I'm looking at right now. I have about 7,000 in this place. Believe it or not, I'm looking at 300 books right now. I can look at that and say, wow, there's 300 books there on so many different subjects. Okay, it's there. It's already there. Now, because it's already there, I don't need to buy them. I don't need to do anything. The only thing I need to do now is open it and read it and enjoy it. That's it. I've got the tangerine. I've bought it. But if I don't open it and if I don't put it in my mouth, what is the point actually? That's the point he's saying here, Adi Shankaracharya ji. He's saying that you continue your study, Abhyas and Vairagya. Bhagavad Gita, Chanchalahi Mana Krishna. Sri Krishna is asked by Arjuna, oh Sri Krishna Bhagwan, my mind is very fickle. You know, we always say my mind is going here, mind is going there. What is the answer to that? The answer is very clear. Sri Krishna Bhagavan says, Abhyas, study the mind. And Vairagyam, rise above the polarities of the samsara. That is Vairagya. Abhyas and Vairagya. And when you have both cross-connected, supplementing each other, they're connected, interconnected, woven together. That is the meaning of the word Tantra, to weave together. When Abhyas and Vairagya are woven together with with the great devotion to Paramatma, asking for anugraha, asking for krupa. Of course, dharma is there. Then that becomes the Atma Abhyase, is Atma Abhyas. Then one is prepared to dive into the depths of oneself to discover, oh, I am this extraordinary, effulgent being. My God. And then to remain in that state. This verse, I cannot express to you what I feel when I'm even talking about this right now. This is so incredible. It's pure Amrut, Amrut. That's all it is. Pure grace. Yahi krupa hai. There cannot be any greater grace than what is written, than what these great sages have given us. That's why scriptures like Vivek Chudamani have survived so long. How long does an ordinary book survive? Somebody writes a book on some romance novel or something. It's there one day, gone the next, thrown out of trash. Nobody cares. But people are writing hundreds of novels. Iska koi compares. Even no science book is compared to this. Even the highest levels of scientific journals and all that doesn't compare to this one verse. That has its glory. It has its greatness. This is about going beyond the Bhavasagara. Bhavabandha Vimukte. What can be greater than that? What can be greater than the souls liberating into the Brahma Tattva? Gunatitanand Swami, Swaminarayan Sampradaya. He said, I only know one thing. He knew so many things, but he said, I only know one thing. I know how to I know how to cure the disease of birth and death. અમને એક જ વાત ખ્યાલ છે કે જન્મ મરણનો રોગ કેવી રીતે ટાળવો. Gujarati, spoke in small villages in Junagadh, these great truths. Incredible. The disease of birth and death. What an idea that is. You know, when some baby is born, everybody is happy and smiling. Oh, congratulations, new birth. Okay, that's true from where we are. Is anybody going to say, well, okay, welcome back, my friend. You are thus reincarnated. Now try to find mukti. I want to see somebody say that when such a child is born to the parents. I said, tell the parents, raise that child to realize, get mukti from life and death. And when we celebrate birthdays, we can say, well, we say happy birthday. We can say it's a remembrance of your reincarnation day. That's all. Happy reincarnation day. Happy reincarnation to you. We can have a nice different melody on that one. If you want to really, but see, the thing is, the samsara doesn't know all that. Samsara is lost inside the experiences of the samsara. I mean, the people are lost in the experience of samsara. The Brahma Vidya Gnani, he's not going to give this Gnan to the birthday party and he's going to be like anybody else. But internally, he looks at the same birthday party as what? Oh, it is the reincarnation ceremony. So again, he remembers, I don't want to be reincarnated again. Remembers what is reincarnation. Remembers all the pains and sufferings and the experiences, and to realize that to arise above this. He's not going to give a lesson on Brahma Vidya at the birthday party, unless you have people like-minded like that. That's not going to happen. See, the sansar is completely, the people in the sansar are trying to strengthen the experiences of the sansar. By strengthening bondage, one cannot get mukti. How can one get into this state, bhavabandha vimukte, by strengthening bondage? How is that possible? But when we do not strengthen bondage, when we proclaim our liberation, and we are moving in this direction, we live with everyone with love and affection, keeping in mind the direction of the sansar, keeping in mind your direction towards mukti, ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. See that? Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4. Amazing things are here. This is there's so much joy in this. True ananda is in this. Then our life becomes a bubbling life of Brahma Vidya, Brahma Gnana, Divya Gnana. Alright, so we'll stop here and we'll continue tomorrow.